Hello everybody, this is Miss Xiao here. Today I would like to go through a question with regards to number pattern. This question is taken from Tao Nan School, SA1 2021 paper. Now let's take a look at what the question says. Shaded and unshaded circles form figures that follow a pattern. The first three figures are shown below. So we see them over here. Figures 1, 2, 3, 4. Question A, add circles to complete figure 4 in the space above. B, complete the table for figure 6 and figure 17. C, find the number of unshaded circles for figure 20. So how do we go about this question? We have to find out from the figures drawn to us to figure out how to complete figure 4. So let's take a look. Figure 1. Okay, it's just one black circle, right? One shaded one. And then figure 2, you realize that from one black circle, it becomes 3. And at the sides, there are 4 unshaded circles. That's one way that we can approach this question. We look at how many shaded, how many unshaded circles. On the other hand, we can look at the figures in another way. We can look at it vertically. So figure 1, when we look vertically, it's just one circle. All right. Now figure 2, we have one circle in the middle, and moving one step to the left is 3 circles. One step to the right is 3 circles. One observation about figure 2 is that the circles that are in line, that are aligned with the one in the middle, the black circle in the middle, are also shaded. Okay, whereas the others are unshaded. Okay, same for figure 3. The one in the middle is just one circle, followed by 3 on both sides, and 5 on the outer. So moving on to figure 4, we have 1. Okay, on both sides, we have 3, 3. Moving on, we have 5, 5. And following that would be, now if you notice, these numbers are odd numbers, 1, 3, 5. So the next odd number following 5 would then be 7, wouldn't it? Yeah. So it'd be 7 on both sides. And how are we going to draw the 7 circles? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and where would the shaded circle be? The one that is aligned with the other shaded circles. Similarly, for the right-hand side, we will draw 7 circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we shade the one that is aligned with the other shaded circles. Okay, so for our answer in A, this should be what it is. Now let's move on to B. Complete the table for figure 6 and figure 17. So figure 6, we want to find out the number of shaded circles. Okay, so how exactly are we going to get this answer? Let's take a look at the numbers given. We have 1, 3, 5, and as you can see, it looks like the numbers are increasing 2 at a time. For figure 6, it should be quite easy to figure out the number of shaded circles if we were to count on. That means if we were to keep adding 2 to the number before, we should end up with the answer in no time. And we might take a little longer to add 2 to the previous number to get all the way up to 17, figure 17. However, this is not a very wise way of using time. After all, this question is 2 marks. You don't want to be spending 10 minutes on it. All right, so how do we go about finding the answer to this? Let's see. In the second column of number of shaded circles, we are dealing with odd numbers. Okay, and one thing about odd numbers is that it is actually one number more than an even number or one number less than an even number. Okay, so odd numbers can be represented by an even number plus 1, or it can be an even number minus 1. Okay, so let's take a look at 135. What happens when we take away 1 from each of these numbers? When we take away 1 from them, we will end up with 0, 2, 4, 8. And you realize that if we take away 1 from these numbers that are given, we will end up with what looks like multiples of 2. So what comes to mind would be 2 times table. So perhaps we might want to consider something very general, like, for example, the number on each row here would be associated with a multiple of 2. So 2 units. 2 units would be a multiple of 2, right? So if 1 unit stands for 3, 2 times of 3 would be 6. That would give us an even number. Take away 1. Now, let's take a look. If figure 1, okay, we were to replace the letter U, 2 units, with figure 1, so that with 1, that means 2 times 1 equals to 2. 2 minus 1 gives us 1. Okay, let me show you. For figure 1, 2u minus 1 actually means 2 multiplied by the figure number of 1. Take away 1, you'll end up with 1 shaded circle. If you want to consider figure 2, it will be 2 times of 2. This second 2 here refers to the second figure, minus 1, and that gives you 3. So on and so forth. And you realize that the numbers 1 and 3 here actually corresponds to the 1 and 3 given in the rows. Yeah. Okay. So 2u take away 1 is actually the general form of the pattern for number of shaded circles. So if we want to find the number of shaded circles for figure 6, that would mean we have to take 2 multiplied by 6 and we take away 1 from that. So 2 times 6 is 12. 12 minus 1, we get 11. So the answer for the first blank is 11. How about the second blank? The second blank would be figure 17. So figure 17 would mean that we take 2 multiplied by 17 and we take away 1. So 34, take away 1, we have 33. So therefore, answer for the second blank is 33. Now let's take a look at part C. Part C is rather challenging. So we see that number of unshaded circles starts with 0, moving on to 4, 12, and there is a big gap, and moving on, it'll be 60, and then 84, followed by 544. You realize that between 0 and 4, there is a gap of 4, right? Between 4 and 12, there's a gap of 8. Wow. Between 60 and 84, we have 24. And somehow we are not quite sure how this pattern actually goes. So we might not want to form a general pattern based on these numbers here. Let's consider another way. So what I did was I tried to do something to these numbers given. And after manipulating it, that means letting it go through a certain operation, I tried to see whether there is a pattern that follows. So I attempted by trial and error to divide each number by 2. So what happens when I halved each number? So when I halve 0, I will end up with 0, right? When I halve 4, I will get 2. When I halve 12, I will end up with 6. Similarly, when I halve 60, I ended up with 30. When I halve 84, I got 42. Okay, and I actually stopped here. I noticed something. I noticed that if I were to take the number 2, let's say from figure 2 itself, I were to multiply it by 1, I would end up with 2. What is this 1 all about? Why did I randomly get the number 1? 1 is actually one number after the figure number. Sorry, one number before the figure number. So in this case, my figure number is 2. 1 less than this figure 2 is 1. So 2 multiplied by this 1 gives me 2. Now, if I were to look at 3, if I multiply by a number that is 1 less than this figure number, does it give me my n number over here? So I multiply it by 1 less than 3, which is 2. Hey, I end up with 6, you know. Yeah. After that, I realized that, okay, if I were to multiply 6 by the figure number that is 1 less than 6, I also end up with 30. So on and so forth. Okay, so how do I find the number of unshaded circles for figure 20? So if I were to put a figure 20 over here, okay, what number do I need to multiply it with to get to that value right at the end? So it will be 1 less than that figure number 20, right? Which is 19. So what is 20 times 19? 20 times 19 actually gives me 380. Okay, now, but 380 is not what I want to find. What I want to find is, in actual fact, the number that has the unshaded number of has unshaded circles. Okay, this. So how do I get back this number here? Well, I work backwards in order to get this. So how do I get this number over here? I would need to multiply 380 by 2. So from here, I will be able to get 760. So 760 will be the answer for C. So I hope that you find the solution to this question helpful. See you again. Take care.